Hey, this is Dan from MusicXplorer. We're here today with Chesky Coletti. She's a well-known vocalist from Branchburg, New Jersey. Chesky was in Meat Loaf's band from 2003 through 2011, and then she released her first solo album in 2008 with her collaborator, guitarist, producer, Anthony Krizan. Their latest single, Crazy, was just released earlier this year. Chesky and Anthony are also in the Janis Joplin tribute band, Experience Janis. Hey, Chesky, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Dan. How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for talking with us today. Let's get an idea of how your musical career started. How did you start with your singing career?
Well, I was born in a very musical family. My mother sang in the church choir. She had a soprano, beautiful Julie Andrews type voice, very operatic. And my father played in a rock and roll band. One day I said to my brother Pete, I said, why don't we get a set list? And I said, why don't, get us a gig and we'll play out. And he did. He got us a few gigs, and then we just started playing out in bars, and it hasn't stopped.
Right, you joined Meat Loaf in 2003. So what did you do prior to joining Meat Loaf?
I was performing in bars, really just doing the club scene. And I had my band, CC and Crew, and I met my husband. My husband's my bass player, and we had a couple different groups going, and we were doing the club scene. And I was associated with our friend Paul Crook. We played in the same bars, Paul and I, and we ended up meeting. Paul ended up getting the job as a guitar player for Meat Loaf, and we were all like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. One day he called me and he said, Pearl, Meat's daughter, left the band, and they're asking the band if we know any background singers that want to go on tour. I auditioned, and I didn't get the job at first. I didn't meet Meat Loaf when I auditioned. They hired another girl that could play guitar, and she could play the keys. Then I got a call from Paul in the midsummer, and he told me, Meat Loaf wants to meet you. And I said, okay, cool. And then we went backstage, and I went in Meat Loaf's room. So anyway, I met Meat Loaf, and we just hit it off. I left the room. I heard nothing. The next day, Paul called me and he said, you're hired. Meat Loaf wants you in the band. I was like, yeah, really? Cool. It was interesting. And he never heard me sing. And then the other ironic thing was after my mom had passed away, we went to her house and to gather some things. My stepfather said, take whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. And I opened up one of her in the dining room where she kept records. And what's the small record called?
45.
Right on top was the 45 Meat Loaf, 2 out of 3 Ain't Bad. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. So it was like, it was bizarre. But that's pretty much how it worked out, from going from the clubs. It definitely does pay to know people.
It's really cool. So you stayed with Meat Loaf through 2011. What happened after that?
So I joined Amphibian, Tom Marshall's band, for a few years, and then that's where I met Anthony, my producer, Anthony Krizan, my guitar player producer from the Spin Doctors. We did like 4 CDs, and played all over, and we opened up for some great bands. We opened up for the Doobie Brothers and Kicks and America and Cheryl Crow, just Poison, Bret Michaels. Yeah, I had a great time doing it, and I still am, and I'm still playing my originals and writing and playing covers. Remake CD with Chesky Records. That was the start to my original career.
I mean, your latest single that came out is called Crazy.
Yeah.
And that's like it's a cool ballad with you and Anthony.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a beautiful song.
So you were with Anthony since 2004. What year was the Woodstock Lane released?
Woodstock Lane, technically 2009. I put 2008 on the CD because my address at Woodstock Lane was 208. And Woodstock Lane obviously is a street I grew up on. It was the first song I wanted to write because it just was all the memories, and when you're a kid and things were great, and you know what I mean? There was you know what I mean? Innocent times. And, then we wrote some songs about the loss of my parents and things like that. And then, some fun, upbeat stuff.
So your latest album came out, what year? Let It All Hang Out came in what year?
Let It All Hang Out, 2013.
Yeah, I lost my notes.
That's okay. I lost my mind in homeschooling. And that we sort of intertwined more of our vocals together, did a lot of singing together, and it's a little bit more of an acoustic-y type, acoustic.
Why is there such a gap between your latest single and your album from 2013?
Because 2013 is when my son was born. And life just happened.
What's your most treasured moment or cherished moment with playing with Meatloaf? I mean, anything stand out in particular?
Well, being able to sing a duet with me was an honor. And then one other huge highlight was, it wasn't even on stage or performing or anything. It was when he asked myself and Paul and Pearl and Scott to go to Classic Rock magazine in London awards show to be there in honor of him and accept his award. That was amazing because I was in a banquet room pretty much with all the rock stars. Jeff Beck, Steven Tyler, Joan Jett, Jimmy Page was there.
There you go.
Oh my Lord. Ronnie James Dio was there, and I got all these amazing photos.
Well, there is a picture I saw that you were Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck. I think it was behind you, and you were sitting with Paul.
Yes, I know. When Paul posted that, I was so happy because it was literally like the only picture I've seen.
So in 2009, you formed the Experienced Janis tribute band. How did that come about?
Janis Joplin is also one of my favorites. And Bobby McGee was like the first cover song I ever really learned. The response we get is amazing because a lot of the people that come to these shows saw Janis Joplin live before she died, which is
cool.
Blows my mind. The most requested song I get is Bobby McGee. I get into her character and I really enjoy it.
Well, thanks, JC, for talking with us today, and have a good day.
Thank you so much, Dan. You too.
Bye.
Rock on.
Stood flat in Baton Rouge, waiting for a train.